Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to welcome you to today's edition of Good Grief. I see you, Rebel, out there. You said, okay, Saints, okay. Here. I'm so happy to be back on this week's Good Grief session with my dear, dear friends, Crazy Berry Town and Kim Possible, who have been holding down the fort for me even when I was MIA. You guys did an excellent stream on last week. I appreciate you so much. And good afternoon to both of you beautiful ladies. Thank you for joining today.
Good afternoon and welcome back.
And welcome back.
Be back. It's good to be. I miss y'all when I'm not here, but I enjoyed it. I was cracking though, but I enjoyed you.
You were listening. You were getting glammed up, honey. We saw the leg and the shoulder. Okay, we saw it all.
Yeah, shoulder action. We had the lip gloss action. We had the shadows action. We had all of it going on.
I was trying to represent the lines then. I was trying to represent you ladies. You know,
I represented well, ma'am. Let me say that.
I got to step up my game to walk with you ladies.
Oh my gosh, you looked beautiful.
Thank you, ladies.
Like
Thank you so much.
Amazing time.
You're so kind. It was marvelous. We went to Symphony, the Dallas Symphony, and they were doing a tribute to Aretha Franklin. So, you know, if you don't know, now you know, Aretha Franklin is my all-time favorite. And so nobody can touch her. Nobody can touch her. There's nobody like her in all the earth. There'll never be another one. So, you know, it is what it is. Had a marvelous time. And I think that's why they did that. Listen, Rebel talking about legs and hips and body.
Yes, all of that. All of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Had a marvelous time. And I enjoyed just experiencing and expressing my femininity without restriction. It was just beautiful. I had a ball.
You could tell.
Yeah,
you could tell from the pictures. Yeah, phenomenal.
Yes.
I had a ball. I did. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, that was fabulous.
So it was an Aretha, it was an orchestra.
The symphony was in the background. Let me turn my phone off, which keeps dinging.
Wow, that sounds beautiful.
But the orchestra was in the background, and then they had two vocalists. There was a sister that was singing, and then they had a brother that was singing. Then they did a lot of Aretha's material, and then they did some Otis Redding, they did some Sam Cooke, they did, just a myriad of different things. And then they're both vocalists in their own right. So they did some of their own material. But, it was excellent. And then you had the orchestra there backing them up. But, my all-time listen, I went on You Made Me Feel. Child,
you just stand up and sing with the people.
Baby, I was up in there. I was standing, I was grooving, I was swaying and moving, had a marvelous time. So yes.
That is so nice. And what a neat idea to do the symphony like that with Aretha's music. That's awesome.
It was marvelous. Yeah. And if you think about it, like a lot of her stuff before she went to Shoal Creek, it was with the orchestra. So, it fit right in, even though a lot of people don't think about that. But she had a lot of orchestration background in those earlier years. Good evening, Din Dawn. So, it was perfect. It was really good.
That's awesome.
Very good. And to have friends and loved ones that surprised you and kidnapped you essentially, that get glammed up and then treated you to a whole day of it just being all about you. That is just amazing.
I know.
It was 2 days. It ended up being 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah, it was really, and I was on my way out of town, so they were really maneuvering fast.
Oh, goodness gracious. They got to get on your schedule.
Okay.
Listen. But anyway, it was great. It was great.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're really happy for you.
Thank you.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, SK8843. Let's go. Hey, Din Darn.
Hey, Din.
Welcome in. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to you as well, Rebel. What's going on?
Rebels.
Rebels.
Even the cracks coming over here on Good Grief somehow just don't fit to me, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out.
Needed. So needed. We need the cracks.
Yes.
So did anybody listen to the at least bookmark the podcast from last week? We talked about
I did, and I had every intention of going back and listening that day, and the week started taking over. So
yeah. No, I mean, I think you have to be in the right headspace too. I think for something like that also. I will say, good afternoon, truck driver. How are you today, brother?
Truck driver.
I think you have to be in the right headspace, and it is not short on emotion. We said last week how I love to hear, I think you said it too, Anderson Cooper. He's really funny and he giggles, but he's very emotional, and he does not hide that in his podcast. The second one I listened to, I won't even say interview, because it's really like you're in his mom's living room or apartment, and he's just chatting with his friends. And in this case, the second one was her friend, one of her best friends, and they were talking. And when she left, like, she was telling him he was doing a good job of cleaning out his mom's things and all this stuff, and you could hear him close the door, and he just bawled crying. So, you kind of, I mean, just listen to something like that, you kind of have to be in the right headspace, I think. But because he does not, and same with Stephen Colbert. That's the first one I listened to that I mentioned last week. And Stephen Colbert also, I listened to it once more because I felt like through my tears, I missed something. And I did, actually. So I'm glad I listened to it again. But both he and Anderson Cooper were crying a little bit. And then in this other one that I listened to, he was just so emotional. And I think those of us who have been responsible for going through our loved ones' things, whether it's going through them to sift and sort or to close out a place like I did with my mom, he did with his mom. He actually cleaned it out, and since the recording of the podcast has sold at least that apartment he was in. I think he has sold a few of her properties, but it's a very emotional thing, and I can't even imagine, doing that and sort of, so to speak, interviewing people about grief and going through this. So I don't know how he got through it, but but definitely take a listen. It is good. But again, I think you do have to be in the right headspace for it. In some parts it is moving, but there are a lot of nuggets. You know me, the professor, like I said last week, I took notes on some favorite quotes and just some things that I thought were really, really powerful. So definitely. And I love the fact that there is a podcast. I mean, sure, it's a celebrity, and I know how people feel about that sometimes, but I'm just happy that there's a platform out there, right? In that way, with someone of Anderson Cooper's, his fame and his mom's fame, Gloria Vanderbilt, the genes, I'm proud and I'm happy that there is that space. And actually in Stephen Colbert's, in his conversation, they talked about that, how there is nowhere really to put grief in our society. And grievers. And I was fascinated by that. I was fascinated that they just so casually just brought it up, just like we do here. So again, it just highlighted, I don't say it proved, because we know this for a fact, that grief is the great equalizer, and it doesn't matter your fame or your wealth or your station in life. It's grief. And the biggest, I think one of the biggest takeaways was, which is, again, I swear, you all think I'm probably a robot or something. I swear it's me. Let me pinch myself. But I swear to God, we need this platform so bad. One of the things that they said that just stuck with me is that people just want to be heard. People want to express their grief. They want to talk about their loved one. They want to say their name. They just want to know that somebody else knows, right?
Yes.
And they do too.
Yes.
And Anderson Cooper, what is fascinating is he said, sure, everybody knew my mom as Gloria Vanderbilt, but she was my mom.
Right.
She was my mom. And
not just a lady on the jeans that you wore in high school. Not just
we want people to know that.
But she's a real person with a real family.
Yeah.
And I miss her.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, it's really a good thing that he took his platform, as we said before, and just made his grief human. And the fact that and I think it helped him as well, to be able to have these discussions with other people that are grieving, put it in a podcast for other people to watch and witness, so that it gives them the permission to grieve in whatever way. And that it is okay to talk to somebody, to share their memories, to share even the challenges that happen when someone you love dies. So to normalize that, I think, is the goal.
Yes.
It's really a normal thing for people to grieve and to share their grief and not isolate, because that's what the society would say.
Yes.
I mean, isolate, it's fascinating that when somebody loses a loved one, especially for public figures, even, within the church, please give the family space to, process their grief. You shouldn't have to say that. But, media would want to be in somebody's faces, let's watch them grieve. Well, there's not a problem with watching, but, when it intrudes on how they grieve and now you make it susceptible to critique, that's the problem. So him doing it on his own terms from his mother's apartment with people that he trusted to be able to share the conversation, allows other people to see another way to process your grief.
Yeah. I agree. And any avenue that can take place, sign me up. Yeah. I mean, again, just so glad that we have what we do here. And it was also interesting too, I'm not sure how you are, if you will listen to this podcast, but if you, at least on the app, I have an iPhone, so on the podcast app, it's like a purple icon. When you go on the podcast main page, they have reviews. And I read a lot of those. And that was fascinating to see people's comments and thanking Anderson. And not just thanking him, but of course, it was their opportunity to share. And many people, even in the review of the podcast, shared their stories of their loved ones and why they listened, and they shared their grief. And again, a resounding repetitive comment was, we don't have anywhere to put this, and we don't feel received as grievers, and thank you, Anderson, for this. And that was a common thread through all of those reviews, and I found it beautiful that people have that space. So let me see the name. What's the name of it again, child? All There Was, or All There Is. All There Is.
All There Is, yes.
So
I have so many podcasts on my phone.
I know. I
want to listen to that I've never gone back and actually listened to. So I'm like, okay, let me find it again.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the chat. All There Is podcast by Anderson Cooper. So we started talking about
very long. I mean, some of them are, 30 minutes. Some are 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think the one where he did his mom's friend, I like hunkered down, like I was like, all right, I'm in. I got a cup of coffee and curled up on the sofa with my blanket, and then it was over. It's like, oh, okay, she left alone.
That was quick. Okay.
Yeah, it was quick. Okay. So you don't have to invest a lot of time in them, but it is. And the other thing too, I was thinking, well, God, it's probably just going to be, which is not a bad thing, but it's probably going to be a lot just about his grief. But it really has touched me, and I feel blessed that I was able to listen to it, to at least the two that I have. And the others sound interesting as well. Remember I said there's one anticipatory grief. And I look forward to reading, to listening to that. But even though it is Anderson Cooper, and it's precipitated by his mom's passing, there are many, many gems, I think, for all of us. And what I think is cute too, me, I'm like, we talked about that in Good Grief. Yeah. But I feel like, I'm like, we've been there, done it. I need to come over.
We've done that already.
Right. So, I feel like we've addressed a lot of those things. And again, but once again, it just shows how, it's something that we all experience. And we all many of us feel that there's a little bit of a void in our society. I'll say society in general, because some people have really great villages and communities and networks where you are received as a griever. So I'll just say society at large. And that is what Anderson Cooper and Stephen Colbert said it was more just like they felt like American society. And they even sort of gave some little examples of other cultures that, you know, mourn for a certain amount of time or wear certain colors or, you know, whatever, in comparison to the US. So
yeah, those cultural dynamics that, you know, and I mean, and they can be as different as just family structures.
Yep.
You know, we know that there's, you know, culturally from African Americans, grief can look one way versus others. You know, the rituals, the things that we do to help facilitate the process of grief that people may not even consider that these are processes or rituals that we do. But from the time the phone rings to the church lady kicks into gear. At my old church, it used to be Miss Hattie. She was always the person that was going to pick up the phone and now start calling everybody and trying to orchestrate everything for the repast. She don't have a date. She don't know anything, but she was like, we going to do the food, period. And so-and-so's going to get the chicken. Somebody's going to get the collard greens. I'm going to ask so-and-so to make the macaroni and cheese. We don't need Sister so-and-so's potato salad because it didn't work out last time. But we need such and such because we're together. Yeah, her goal was to, how do I help this family in their time of grief, and how can I comfort them through food? And we've talked about that in the past, about just, you know, food and all the different things that people do. But, you know, I think the more we can peek into the lives of other people as they grieve and as people are more transparent about their process of grief, then it just gives other people permission.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think sometimes people don't know that they're looking for permission, right? And I kind of got that through the reviews, the reviews that we wrote on that podcast. It was almost like listening to this podcast gave them permission. They didn't know they were seeking, but it gave them this permission to breathe, to share the podcast itself literally with other people. Which is in a way talking about grief. If I say, just like I did to you all, hey, you guys got to check out this podcast. If I share that with my friends, which I did in text, that's opening up about grief. And I think you're right. When people have an example, and I do think the rituals also, you know, help in that, or have a part in, again, that permission, you know, to grieve. I think that's so important.
Yep.
It's fascinating about the food. You all know I love talking about food. Yes, because I'm greedy. Yeah.
You're not. Listen, you're not alone. You're not alone.
My course that I teach at Georgia State on food and culture, and so we're writing a research paper right now on food, on rituals, rituals or holidays where food is the focus. And we were talking about. So I give them a list of things they can choose from. And we kind of paused on funeral rituals. And the makeup of my class is, both of my classes are mostly African-American students. They're either coming right out of high school, 18, 19. I have some students from other cultures and other countries, but not a lot. So when I stopped on funeral rituals, you know, people were like, what? I can't write about that. There's no food. So of course, you know, I took that as a ding, ding, ding. Let's suss this out.
And let me show you.
Right. And we did. And we talked about it. And as I started talking about it, then students started sharing, oh, yeah, when my auntie died and my grandma. And then the students from other cultures, they started sharing what they do. And then so I paused and I got quiet and I said, there it is. There's your rituals. There's your food tied into a funeral ritual. And we actually, you know, I don't mind when it comes to things like that, where we kind of take a left. So we spent the majority of the 75 minutes talking about that, but it was great because I wanted them to hear it in their voice, those rituals that are related to, those funeral rituals related to food, and how that plays a huge part in our process of burying our loved ones. And it was fascinating, particularly because they're so young. And at first, again, they just didn't make that connection, but many of them have experienced that. So I loved making that connection for them. And that's what food does. I'm not going to put my professor hat on, I promise you, I will not. But that is what food does, though. And that is why it is such a great topic that just kind of weaves its way into many parts of our lives. And why it's such a popular course at Georgia State, because food is a part of our culture in so many facets, including death.
Yeah.
So
the hospitality ministry here at our church, they thrive on providing the family with the most comfort through a repast. So when I have consults with the family, I have to ask them, you know, because there's cultural things. There's people from the Caribbean. There's people from all over. What is your typical celebratory meal? Ask them that. And then now the hospitality team starts to solicit the help of people. Like they've got several different cooks that they use. And if there's somebody, like we got somebody from the Caribbean. And so if the family is Caribbean, then the food for the repast is Caribbean food. So we're not just going to push even the food on them because that then the memory of all of that. And, you know, Miss Mary Mobley can just make anything dessert wise. And we are all like, whatever it is, it's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
Sometimes it's spiked. How about that?
Yeah. Wow.
First time I had her peach bread pudding, I could smell the liquor coming off of it. I was like,
okay, for the liquor, let's go. All right.
I said, is there liquor in this? And they were like, maybe. 2 bites in, I'm like, okay, so I'm glad I'm staying at the church for a while, because I'm gonna need to come down off of this before I can drive home.
Oh my God.
So
I love it.
Yeah. So you know, even customizing the food to fit the family.
I think that's beautiful. I love that. I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So personal. And again, I mean, it makes people feel seen, even something as simple as a meal, right? And at a time where we are grieving, just that one little touch can make a difference, you know, for so many, you know, something people, and again, people would think it's just a plate of food, but for the grievers and the bereaved, right?
It's comfort.
It is. It's comfort. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. Even the way Miss Henrietta describes the food, because we come from the service over to the fellowship hall, people kind of meet and greet, and then we pray, and then I turn it over to her, and then the way she describes
I love it.
What has been prepared, how it's been prepared. Sometimes she will taste it live in front of people and what it tastes and smells like. And the whole purpose of this is really to provide comfort to the family. I was like, I had never in my life experienced anything like that until I came here to the church. To even
I like her.
She is the
sweetest. I love her. I might have to interview her for my class. I like
and she was like, the food is comfort, and how can we help comfort this family at this time? Just through food. And I was like, wow. Okay, ma'am, I see you.
I love that.
Incorporate that in churches going forward.
For sure.
That's beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
It's unique.
In the chat. Ronzi said, and welcome, Ronzi, talking about grief is so necessary, especially coming out of COVID, where deaths seem to be back to back. Talking through it is healthy. Absolutely. And we've talked a number of times about COVID and grief, and not just losing people, but lifestyle, you know, our old way of living and doing things, you know, freedom to do things, you know, the lockdown caused a different level or layer of grief for people. So totally, we get that, and we've touched on that a few times, and it's still there. It's like still right there, right? Tall Pumps.
Sorry to hear about your loss.
Yeah, so sorry about that. What a tragic loss as well, though. And we're so sorry to hear that. Truck driver. At first, I didn't have a good grief family at first, so this is why I've carried it for over 30 years until I met y'all. And now my life is much better, and now I can breathe. Yes. Amazing how we just hold that in, and we feel like once we get it out, we're like, oh, this is what breathing is like. This is what having that heavy feeling off of me is like. And I honestly can't imagine to carry something so heavy, you know, losing your parents. And other loved ones, you know, losing particularly your parents for 30 years. That's a long time. So we're glad you're here. I'm glad you're on. Let's see. Anything else? I thought I saw Only One Mrs. Cox. I thought Only One Mrs. Cox or something. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Or maybe it was just your coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Good afternoon to anyone we missed as we've been chatting here. Hey, Stacy, bless one.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Queen Shayna here. Hey, girl. Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you too. Yes, love some good food all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Holy Spirit does comfort for sure. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about being here is we have a great chat, as you all can see, in this space, and just offering words of comfort and support. We have a great offline. A lot of people have great offline chats and relationships as well, which is nice. Also, we usually plug this at the end, but don't forget about our Discord. If you happen to see the Discord pop up in the chat, hop on it before it goes away. But we follow up there, and it's in Spiritual Thought Leaders Discord, where there's lots of other stuff, but there is space for us in Good Grief. There's a space called Good Grief where we post reflections or just comments. We check in sometimes on each other. We post quotes and memes and pictures and things like that. And then there's also the Win Phone, which is a way to connect and communicate with your loved ones. It's based off of a real Win Phone, of an actual telephone. And since we don't have a telephone for all of us virtually, we use Discord to type the messages directly to our loved ones. So please utilize Discord. It's amazing. And sometimes when I'm up at night, I'll either post or I'll go back and read things that I've read already, but sometimes I'll just read them again, or I'll go through Good Grief and look at some of those quotes and just kind of try to get myself together. Mm-hmm. Some comfort. So definitely take a look at our Discord. We have some great stuff there. And again, appreciation to Spiritual Thought Leader for giving us that space here and in Discord.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's see. Hey, Joanna G, good afternoon. Welcome back.
Hey, Joanna G.
So let's see. BTD Mom. Yeah, how you feel is just how you feel. Nothing wrong with it. The beginning of your process, tall pumps. Yeah, you said it just seems so timely. It seems so timely during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Yeah, I can't imagine, honestly. That is very painful. As we all know, right? Loss itself is painful, but when it's tied up sometimes with other people, or it's tragic, or violent, or in some cases, it's a double pain. And there's the trauma that can possible so eloquently talk to us about in the beginning of our stream, when we started doing this. So that's hard. So sending love to you and to your housemates family.
Hold on, y'all. I'm at the church. I hear stuff moving around. I'm like,
it's Jesus.
It's supposed to be one other person in the building. So
is it Jesus?
No. Jesus Jamal might be up in there, child.
Look, we's locked in here. We got all these cameras. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, but I don't have the app that has all the camera footage. I only got 4 cameras in my office.
Well, how many y'all got?
Girl, this space it's a lot of space and opportunity in this building. So we've had to upgrade our security. Because they think that because we're in Alpharetta that people don't do stuff out here. But of course, we know that people crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Rebel said it might be Nebuchadnezzar.
I pray it's not. I pray it's not.
The Lord don't let it be
Nebuchadnezzar. When she said that the other day, I almost fell out my chair. Nebuchadnezzar.
With the writing on the wall.
Oh my God. I love it.
No, the kibbles and bits did not come into.
Listen, y'all, listen. Now, if the camera goes dark, we already know. It's a panty drop, okay? We already know. Just mute us, okay? No,
okay, so what y'all really need to know about me, I will not be having the nibbles and bits in the church house. That will not ever. Okay.
You won't be one of those to contribute to those stories.
Unless I's married and my door is locked.
Okay.
Lockable. Okay. And ain't nobody else at the church. But until such time, that will not be happening in the church house.
Truck driver to the rescue. Does he need to take a red-eye flight? He ready to.
Right. I will let you know, sir, because
truck drivers here.
Everything is locked. So I'm like, I'm about to call sheriff. Say, are you moving stuff around?
Because I was saying,
announce yourself.
Oh my God.
He's like, do I need to get flued out? Not yet.
Boaz showed up with some pizza.
Okay, now I did not get my order the other week when I did request it sent to the church because I was on my way. I never received anything. Mm-hmm. So I just need that to be made clear.
Oh, silly.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Let me come back.
I know.
You're indoors. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. So everybody that's here, I mean, I think some of you have already kind of checked in, but just let us know how you're doing. How are you today? And how are you? I remember spiritual thought leader, we were getting ready for our stream a couple months ago, and we always ask each other, how you doing or whatever, and I was like, okay. And then she paused. She was like, no, how are you really? So I want to hear from you all. How are you really? How are you doing? And listen, this is good grief. Sure, absolutely. But that doesn't mean we're all walking around with, our chin in our chest, and, our head and our down on the floor. So if you're having a fantastic and amazing day, just say that. That's great. But if you aren't, and you feel okay to share that, then, please share that with us and let us embrace you virtually. But let us know, how are you really doing?
We need to get the little grid like what so Daddy Priest has a grid.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
The Rebels has a grid on a scale of 1 to 5. So now I guess we need one for the grief.
I know.
Where are you on the scale of 1 to 5? And how you're feeling today as it relates to grief or just in general?
Yeah, in general. It's good too. Joanna G, I'm pretty tired. I moved. Oh, you moved.
Okay.
I was wondering where you've been. Hopefully all is well and you're getting settled. Yay.
It's the season of movement. What is the Lord saying?
I need to open up my ears and see what's popping because
I think I hear the Lord speaking.
Come on.
That's right.
All right.
Right, DJ Stacey Blessful. You heard the disclaimer though, right? So at first I was
unless
in the church, unless she's married. So there's a possibility there.
Listen, I got all kind of stories about stuff I used to do before Jesus. So I'm gonna just leave that right there. That was the one area that was off limits. The one area that was off limits.
Okay. I am split level, and the reason why I say that is because I've had all of the celebration surrounding my birthday and everything. Mm-hmm. However, it also has heightened my sense of loss for my mother. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm doing all these things and I'm having a good time and I'm smiling and everything is genuine. There's no put on or fakery there, but there's a really, really strong undercurrent of I miss my mom. And I will sometimes just even wherever I am, I'll just talk and I'll be like, I miss you, Mom. And I'll just have conversation. And then I'll go back and be with the rest of the people and do whatever we're doing as a group. And then I'll go back and I'll, continue that conversation because it really is a point of mixed emotion, I guess, because I'm happy and I'm excited, but at the same time, especially at my birthday. And my mom always had this thing that was a tradition ever since we've been in this world with everybody. She'd get your birthday licks. And then her infamous words were always, "Do you feel any older?" That was a given. I don't care. Everybody that she encountered, she'd get your birthday licks. And of course, the birthday licks, if you were 3, you might have got 250 birthday licks because she's sitting there thinking of stuff. One for this, one for that, one for the other. And that was probably 99% of the game, and the fun was her thinking of something else to give you another lick for.
Right.
And these are just love taps that, you know, no real licks or whatever, but feel any older. And that was like her tradition that she's had with all of us forever. And so to have those times where there's no birthday licks, no, do you feel any older? None of that. It's like, oh my God, it's excruciating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. The high moments, they're great, but you're right. It heightens the absence. You know, really does. I've talked about that too. Where I think it's literally everything. It doesn't even have to be where I'm dressed up for my birthday with my shoulder and my legs out. No, I have to be all of that. But anyway, it could be. It could be.
And my lips glistening.
I know it. Just glistening and glowing. But for me, it's like everything. It's everything. And when I say everything, you know, as you all know, my life is pretty tied up with Captain Boots and his stuff. And so the highlights and the joys of my life really are surrounding his things. So even something as simple as swim practice, and he does really well, or, you know, he's leading the kids in the exercises before they start. I'm like, weepy, you know. Like, it's just I shared so much with her, my mom, and you know, even the small things, because they mattered to her, you know. And she is, you know, he was 4 when she died, but she wanted to know every little thing. You know, did he have his second poop, you know, when he was a baby, and, you know, what was his first, you know, just whatever. She just wanted every little thing. And as the years went on, you know, it was the same thing. She didn't care how small it was. Call me, you know, send me a picture, you know, whatever.
Yes.
And so those things, you know, I feel high and joyous and proud. But there are moments where I'll get a little too quiet, or nobody's clapping, or, you know, they're getting ready. We have to be quiet when they start the time for the kids to jump off the blocker or dive. And it's real quiet. And I start to feel a little flutter because that absence is so evident at those times.
Yes.
Yeah. I totally get that. I just want to say, I saw Ronzi said, I have the program of my deceased loved one on my fridge.
Yes.
I've not gained the strength to take it down. Don't.
Yeah.
You know, until
I've
you're
got
ready.
Mrs. Webb's program right here on my desk.
Yeah.
That has been there since the services, that will stay there.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong. You're right, truck driver. We all have a story. Every single one of us. We do. MCP 812. Hey, love. Good to see you. Welcome in. Yes, Dindar. There's a hole in your heart, right? Yeah, it's there. And, you know, it's sort of, you feel it more, right? When there's things where, you know, your loved one would be or would be interested in, it makes it difficult sometimes. BTT Mom says, today I'm good. Sitting in the sun, reflecting on these sessions helped me tremendously on my not so good days. I cry without guilt. Amen.
Amen.
Good for you. Yes. And who's washing mustard greens? Wait a minute, SK8842. Let's go. The mustard greens.
Hey, mustard greens, really?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And you miss your mom.
When do I need to come by?
I know. Just leave me a little cup, little dish out on the floor.
Little Tupperware container. That's all.
Yeah. To add to that, that's my sister, obviously, and my mother loved mustard greens. And the last thing she asked for before she passed away, she wanted some mustard greens. So we had one of our friends cook some fresh mustard greens and brought them over, but by then she was too sick to eat them, so she didn't get a chance to eat them. But they were there when she passed away. But that was her last request.
Wow. Only one Mrs. Cox said, I'm doing well today. I was going through some of my mom's paperwork last night. I know that's hard too. MCP 812, super sensitive as the 1 year anniversary is nearing of Valerie's departure.
Mm-hmm.
We're so sorry. And I know that that's just even the anticipation can be very heavy. So we are praying for you always, right? But definitely an extra special prayer and super tight hugs coming your way.
Yes.
Ronzi, my joy and peace in this time is that my loved one deposited and downloaded, saw and loved me so well, so I can do that for someone else. Yeah. That's a great outlook. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Outlook. Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you all for sharing how you all are doing. Kim, how are you today, boo?
I'm a little tired because it's been if I had not worked from home on Wednesday, I would have literally been in the office 8 days straight.
Oh wow.
Because there's a conference this weekend we're hosting tonight, the dinner, the roundtable discussion dinner, and then tomorrow we'll be at another church not far from here all day. We're also having a cancer walk tomorrow, which I won't even be at the church for, but it's been a little stressful. One of the key people backed out at the last minute, so we're trying to pull everything together. So it's been, I'm a little tired. I'm spending the night in Alpharetta this weekend, so I don't have to drive back and forth 39 miles each way. But, staying in hotels, I never sleep well the first night. So I'm tired, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Here.
STL, you're back on the road tomorrow?
Yes, I am. I've got a funeral. I've got a cousin away. And then I'll be there.
Gotcha.
Okay. You putting some mileages on the car.
I know. Yeah.
Last weekend, in about 2 to 3 days' time, I put almost 3,000 miles on driving miles.
In 3 days?
Yes. But it's all good. It's all good. We rolling.
You are rolling.
Yeah. Definitely.
You are rolling. This is when I would try to incorporate figuring out how I'm going to get a small jet. Because 3,000 miles in 3 days.
We moving.
That's a lot, but okay.
We moving.
Amen.
Yes. So MCP 812, who's my sister cousin, my mother had the infamous saying, "Don't nobody bring me no gritty greens."
Gritty greens.
I agree.
I'm not mad at that.
We are not mad at that.
It was no gritty greens. That's
gritty greens. Like, you know what? You will never get another opportunity to give me greens if I get some gritty greens from you.
Right.
I'm a pass. Going forward. Because you don't know how to wash the greens.
You don't know how to wash them, baby. They should not be gritty.
No. Tall Pumps says, I agree with you, STL. Thinking of previous conversations, I have to be careful not to be numb when it comes to the passing of loved ones. Thank you all for this good grief. And thank you all. We don't have good grief without you. So thank you all for being here. And always, too, Tall Pumps, you've been here since the beginning and always have shared so many beautiful things with us. And we appreciate that and hope that we can pour back into you what you've given us. So we're here and keeping you in our prayers. Truck driver, legit. I do think STL is an undercover truck driver.
I think she got a truck and we just don't know it. I think she got a truck and we just don't know.
Right. She really might though, right? She got this new house in Texas. She might have a rig pulled up in the driveway or something. Oh my God.
Yes, that's a truck driving type of mileage.
Listen, our church where my dad pastored was 100+ miles one way, and we went there every Sunday. And some weeks when we had revivals and stuff like that, we were literally on the road every night. And BTD Mom SK8843 MCP 812 can tell you that's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. We lived on the road. We literally lived on the road. I tell people we went home to change clothes and go to sleep and get back on the road.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, we might have to do a GoFundMe for a new car. And then Rebel said, "Did you see that?" Rebel said she drives like one too.
Okay, see.
I'm not gonna put that up on the screen.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't. I noticed.
I noticed you did not put that on the screen. So there's some truth to that. I think we need to all chip in on the baby 18-wheeler. Is there such a thing? Is there a 6-wheeler? I mean, what 9-wheeler? A 9-wheeler, something? A baby truck, something for her, so she can.
Oh my gosh!
Something. Yeah. I got my math together. All right. Mm-hmm. A big wheel. We got a big wheel. A little more than a big wheel, Rebel. Just a little bit bigger than that, I think. You need some comfort.
Big wheel, though, you can really drive a big wheel, though, especially if you know how to like spin out. You pull on that brake and you just spin out. Big wheels, you really could do some things. Yeah. Y'all never did that before? Okay, Carol, I know you've been on a big wheel before, right?
I have never been on a big wheel.
Shut your mouth.
I was a sheltered only child. Blame my parents. I was like, I would like a big wheel. Can a sister get a big wheel? No. Okay, well, and that answers that.
Oh my God. Okay, so big wheels have this like brake thing.
Remember the little side pull over thing,
and you like go real fast. We used to go where and like get into an area where there's dirt. So we did the spin out. It would make up a lot of dust and stuff.
I've seen it happen. I just never participated actually in it.
Right. Only my Mrs. Cox is it's about the brake.
I had big dreams as a child. It just never happened. I just never.
Okay, did you have a light bright though? You had a light bright.
Oh, I had a light bright for sure.
Easy bake oven? Okay.
Easy bake oven for sure.
Okay, all right. We're back.
I had a bike. I had roller skates where I would tab my knees and stuff. Yes, I had all of that. Just no big.
Yeah, big wheels. I mean, I guess,
yeah.
As long as you have the light bright and easy bake, we're good.
Girl, I miss a light bright to this day. I was like, can I get a light bright to put in my office? So I could leave
they have them now, but they're not the same.
On my light bright so that people would know how to approach. I could just put a message up.
Exactly. In the light bright colors. Yeah.
Approach with caution. I could put all of these messages up on the light bright and people would be like, okay, today ain't the day. Back up.
Put a little butterfly next to it to make it sound nicer, right? Make a little butterfly, a little heart. Yeah.
Somebody gave me this cup and I was like, how did y'all know I used to say this when I was a prison chaplain? It says, what does it say?
Let me drop
everything and work on your problem.
See,
right.
And when the lady gave me that, I said, why are you giving me that? She said, the Lord just said, I just thought it was the cutest thing because that's not even your personality. I'm like, that was my favorite at the prison. When people would come to me, I'm like, I'm just supposed to drop all my stuff and start working on your problems. Is that what you're asking me to do?
Yeah. My motto around here, my husband always says this all the time. He'll say, I know. My lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on your part, but I need such and such. Dude, don't quote me if you're going to go against it. Like, your lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on my part. Sorry.
No, he already knows that. You don't have to say it.
Pretty.
He said, I know I'm late. This is last minute. I did not think this whole thing through. However, I still need your help.
Right. Yes. Only one Mrs. Cox asking you all for prayers, dealing with some health issues with my dad. He had an MRI on his prostate today, praying for a good report, and we are as well. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I know you've been taking care of your dad and helping him out. So I know that's hard. And you're grieving also, the loss of your mom. Yes. So yes, we will be praying for you as well. And your father for a good report. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to, so speaking of that, I want to know, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying you didn't tell us how you were. Did you? Did I miss it?
Oh, I didn't.
You did not.
No, I didn't. I don't think I did. I'm all right. Yeah, I am busy. It's. I feel like we inch up to Halloween. Life just starts to get a little cuckoo. You all know if I don't know if Halloween was a big deal in your kids' lives, if you have kids that are grown now or whatever in the past or currently, but for the life of a 9-year-old, Halloween is a big deal. And so we trick or treat with some friend that we've been doing probably now for 6 years. We go to a friend's house very close, and we pregame in her house with pizza and chili, and you just get what you want. And then she has adult beverages and sodas and waters and stuff for the kids. And then we all just traipse out and go and trick or treat, and it's a fun time. It's tradition. And so it's, and then trying to figure out costumes, because now I don't get to choose. He has to choose.
Oh, right? Yes, you did. Yes, he has to choose his own.
So now, we go back and forth. He changes it every day. So Halloween begins the busy season for me until the first of the year, basically. So I'm a little bit anxious, and I'm tired already. Yeah. So
because now you got to start thinking about what's going to happen with the elf on the shelf and that whole saga.
Oh my god, I bought some stuff yesterday. I am in full wedding planning mode. Marshall is getting married.
Oh my goodness.
You didn't see the save the date at the end of the year last year?
Marshall, I did, but the drama could include that something happens in the wedding and go through. I mean, it could be straight up at ATL Marshall Chronicles or something. I don't know. I mean, anything.
Right. Well, Barbie, we went dress shopping and she said yes to the dress. So she's got a dress and some shoes, a little, and Marshall has a tux. So yes, we are in full wedding planning mode for my elf on the shelf, Marshall. If you were not following me last year, and you're not following me now, go ahead and follow me.
Yeah, quit your wicked ways. Quit your wicked ways. Not just on Twitch. You gotta follow her on Instagram also, so you don't miss the Marshall shenanigans. Okay.
DJ Tantrums, welcome in.
Available to crash weddings, but
not for free.
Paid in food and unlimited.
Wait, how are you gonna make requests?
Listen, we don't know if Marshall has that type of budget. All right.
Right.
Barbie might, Marshall does not. He's an elf.
Right.
Don't make that kind of.
We'll have to see. We're working on that. Yeah, we'll have to see. Okay. So that is actually it's really fun. I love it. So that's kind of also adding to my that's not stressful at all. Actually, I love it, and I'm pretty convinced. I think Captain Boots will not tell me because he doesn't want to hurt my feelings, but I don't think he'll tell me that he doesn't believe that Marshall literally moves around every day. Because the point of Elf on the Shelf is to have this little elf in your house to keep an eye on kids and make sure, we don't have that issue with Captain Boots. So for us, it's more of just for fun, and it's turned into something that I clearly do the most. I'm too much, and that's what he tells me literally every day. It's too much. So he won't tell me that he doesn't believe in Marshall and that Marshall leaves and comes back every night, because I think he knows it'll hurt my feelings if he doesn't believe. So he goes with it. I asked him pretty recently, do you really think Marshall goes back and forth to the North Pole every night to give a report to Santa? Yes, Mama, I do. I don't think he does though, but I'll go with it. So yeah, we're looking forward to the big wedding of the year around Crazy Berry Town, and then Captain Boots, he turns 10 next month. My anniversary is next month, and then Tim has a birthday in December. Then there's Christmas, and then New Year's, and Thanksgiving, So yeah, I'm a little frazzled in advance.
But I will say
anticipatory frazzledness.
Right. Anticipatory frazzle.
I think for one of my first holidays, Christmases without my mom, I will say that Marshall was a good diversion. So I want to encourage anybody. I'm serious. You get on every day to see what Marshall's doing. So I just tell anybody and everybody that's in the Good Grief family chat, please do follow Crazy Berry Town, because this storyline that she creates, and you really ought to be a fiction writer. You really should be.
I'm looking for some kind of nationwide publicity around Marshall and Barbie's wedding. I really am.
Something.
Yeah,
Please follow her. Please follow Crazy Berry Town, because I promise you, on those days that you might be a little tearful, a little droopy, a little sad, when you get on and you watch Crazy Berry Town's Marshall story and the L's, it will lift your spirits almost instantaneously. I promise you. So you're bringing that to the world, whether you intend to do that or not. Crazy Berry Town. It is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. Only one Miss Cox. It really is.
Oh, yeah. It is.
Yeah. So you got me looking for Marshall you do this every year, right?
Every year. I started it 2017, the year my mom died, and a friend she knows me very well. She knows I'm extra in. So she sent me the elf. She was like, "You're gonna do it," because I kind of bucked it like for a while. I'm like, "I'm not doing that." And she said, I know it's going to be hard. Your mom's not here. My mom used to come here to our house every year for Christmas and come early. She'd be here like the first week of December and stay through New Year's. So she sent it to me for me really as a diversion. And of course, as a way for Captain Boots to have some fun too. And then of course I lost my mind, which is not, not unusual for me to go overboard, So Marshall's been through girlfriends. He was dating Gwen Rose for a little while. And then she almost got run over by a car by Barbie at the drive-in. And now Barbie is back with Marshall, and he proposed last year, and they spent time in the hot tub, and, then he had a zip lining accident and it ended up in the hospital with an IV hooked up and all. It's a whole mess, you guys. I'm telling you, you have to follow it. Really, it's a mess.
Love and Hip Hop Christmas edition.
It's a whole soap opera. It's a whole thing.
Yes, Barbie is back.
I'm fully expecting some kind of drama or shenanigans around this wedding.
Oh, it's completely going to be drama and shenanigans. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I know.
Completely.
I can't wait. We need a season premiere like Real or something to know the coming attractions and get all the anticipation going.
So here's what. So we're going on a cruise, right? So I'm thinking of how to work this in, like how we can work in like some cruise drama or something. I don't know. I've got to figure it out. I'm working on it. So
might be talking to some other chick, or that chick he almost got run over.
I think Gwen Rose, even though Gwen Rose is dating Black Panther, who is Marshall's nemesis, Black Panther punched Marshall in the face at a party one night, and now he is with Gwen Rose. But I think Marshall's eye is going to go back to Gwen Rose because she's fly. She's got like the little pink fur and the pump. The little pump. So I don't know, you guys. You all just stay tuned, okay? It'll help your grief. Trust me.
It will help your grief. Now, I got a new addition I want to suggest to you. May or may not like it. But you know how they do Real Housewives, and they have, what's the guy that comes and interviews them at the end? When at the end of every season, you need to have Rebel do an interview.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. We doing it.
Yes.
But it really does.
RW has to provide the theme music.
Absolutely. And the theme song is the singing.
Wait a minute, what?
Wait a minute. Oh, yes, ma'am, we're talking about you.
But it really does. I don't know if that was the intent. I know your friend wanted to lift your grief, but that really lifts our grief. It really blessed me last year, and it was a tough year, but I did enjoy seeing what Marshall and Barbie were doing. Great diversion, great lifter, and I appreciate you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad. It definitely, and I never thought about it in that way. Like I said, it was for me, and Captain Boots and my husband, when my husband gets in on it too. So I appreciate that though. And I hope though that, through something like that, it inspires others to do something, whether it doesn't obviously have to be that, but something that you enjoy and that you bring that. And what's fascinating too is something that I thought was just, as you said, it was a gift to me as a diversion and as a way to have fun. Now look how it's helped others in their grief. So I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot, honestly. Again, as I always, I literally do everything, particularly around Marshall, and I'm like, that's just too much. Like I hear Captain Boots in my head, Mama, that's too much. And then I still end up doing it anyway. So I'm glad to know that it's helped somebody else.
Yes. Yes.
I'll let Captain Boots know that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, please do. Please do. There's a purpose for it all. Please do.
Yeah. Wait, now you're officiating, STL.
Okay. Yes, STL is officiating. The invitation has to be one of those things that open up and blossom.
I know.
It's got to be fabulous. I mean, come on.
It's going to be fabulous. We've got bridesmaids dresses already. We're just trying to figure out who's going to be in the wedding because there was a fight because Barbie's turned into a little bit of a bridezilla.
Oh, of course.
So we're down to 1 right now, although we have 5 dresses, but we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Kind of sounds like 3 RW.
Yeah. Tantrums, do you want to DJ? DJ Tantrums, would you like to DJ?
He said he would DJ for food and for liquor. That's what he said.
Oh my gosh. We'll see. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. So everybody stay tuned. And
stay tuned.
Yeah, it's just
stay tuned.
So yeah, so I'm doing well. Just like I said, getting ready for this busy time, and yeah. So this weekend is Emory homecoming, so I'm actually looking out for my girls. And there it is. Flowers, rice.
Yes, rice, flowers,
doves.
I couldn't resist.
Right, and Tantrums DJs, right? It's gonna be lit, and it's gonna be
it's gonna be lit for sure.
Gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna be some nipples and fish in the
There's a whole other thing. So you know what? Just let me know the date so I can be there. That's all I'm saying.
I will. I think the save the date. I think the wedding was for December 24th because what normally happens with Elf on the Shelf is they go away, they go back to the North Pole. Their work is done. So Christmas morning, the kids typically wake up and their elf is gone back because their reports are done. They've reported to Santa all year. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I set the wedding date. The save the date is December 24th. So we'll see. There could be some cancellations and reschedules. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yes, because and then where are they going to live? Are they going to live on the North Pole?
Well, that's what I don't know. I don't know.
Is Barbie gonna put up a fight because she my life is bigger than the North Pole?
Right. He sent her an invitation to visit, and she said that her skin would not do well in that chilly weather, and so she declined. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this relationship's really gonna work out, though.
We may not have a wedding, people. Stay tuned. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, who knows? He might end up marrying Gwen Rose.
It's the flat flute, my favorite. Oh my God!
I'll put this at the reception. It's going down.
It's sinking.
The ship is going down, and it's not Barbie that's sinking. Because her skin can't handle that sea salt either. I mean, she's like ocean water. What are you saying?
So I don't know. So I feel like it's still kind of in the works. This is the first time I've ever written stuff down. So I've kind of written it out as a story, but I keep changing it because I'm cuckoo. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I do think there will be a wedding. What happens when Marshall lifts the veil? Who knows? I don't know. It might be a Dallas kind of situation or Young and the Restless. I don't know. But it should be fun nonetheless.
Are we talking about a Leah and Rachel type situation? What are we talking about?
Could be.
What's going to happen when the veil is lifted and we don't know who's there?
We'll see what happens. No, Barbie's excited though. She is excited though. She's ready and she just has to calm down. I think that's why she's a bit of a bridezilla. She's very nervous. So I think we'll be fine. We just have to calm her down. And I think the cruise will help. I think we will find Barbie on the cruise, relaxing on the Lido with a cocktail or 2 or 4. And I think she just needs a little relaxing.
That sounds like a setup for her meeting somebody else. That's what that sounded to me.
Could be.
But let me tell you what you sound like. I don't know if you ever watched Soap back in the day.
I've heard of it. I've never watched it though.
Mm-hmm. I remember Soap growing up.
They would ask all those questions. Is such and such going to happen? And
You're right. At the end.
Yes, they did do that.
John, listen, we might need some production, John. We might need some production.
We need a photographer. John got to be the photographer.
Yeah. So
we got to watch the edit of the pictures live on Twitch. I mean, we have to see all of this stuff unfold.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Yeah. Now, I don't have books for you to read, John. I've just written it down on my own to keep the story together, because I have to plan this. So normally Marshall returns from the North Pole December 1st, but we bust up on the cruise on the 3rd. So I don't know. He may come a little bit earlier just so we could get in some fun times before we leave. So I don't know, but I have to write things down. So day 1, day 2, day 3, just so I can kind of keep it up. And I have to have my stuff ready, all of my props and all that stuff or whatever.
Oh, what would happen if you allowed the viewer to select options around the storyline?
Oh my God. I don't know. I have to see. That actually would be kind of fun. Maybe when we come back from the cruise, like we'll do like a few days or something. I was thinking about also trying to figure out a way to do some kind of stream around this, but I don't know how to do it. I can't figure it out yet. So actually,
we will figure it out. We will figure it out. Yeah. We have to figure it out now.
But you know who's totally invested? The Party Rocker Kev G is completely invested. Like he messaged me every day last year. I'm waiting for Marshall's picture to pop up. And every now and then in his stream, he'll say, "We're getting closer to December. I'm waiting for Marshall."
I would come out looking for Marshall too. This is what I observe. And I'm really, I love the levity and the laughter is great. But what you're manifesting, Crazy Berrytown, is how out of the grief. And even though your friend suggested this and you didn't think, a whole lot of it, how out of your grief, how this tremendous energy of creativity has burst out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're right.
Amazing that this came out of your grief for your mother and from a suggestion from a friend who may have just been like, hey, let's just frivolously get, Crazy Berrytown reacclimated or refocused or re-engaged in some way, and how that simple suggestion and you doing it has really created. I mean, I said y'all about to make a whole episode. I mean, this is a whole series right here. This needs to be brought and recorded. It's going every which way. So I tell you, and yes, the laughter is so much needed. And I guess I just wanted to pull out of that sometimes in our grief,
Jesus Jamal.
That's the front door of which I cannot unlock from my office. I have to get up. And
oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The door. Who is it?
Oh my. Blow the trumpet in Zion. Listen.
All right. Hold on, y'all. I'll be back.
Okay. But Crazy Berrytown, I do want to really highlight, because I know sometimes we can be really so heavily bogged down. Is that Tom? Y'all are so wrong. That is crazy. But I've said what I need to say, and that's enough.
It's Richard
Oh God. Y'all are silly. But yes.
I think that's a good observation. And I think it's also something to share with all of you in that, sometimes, what I think we asked this, I don't know, it was a few months ago or we were talking about something I read, of course, about how you can be thankful. And actually, in Stephen Colbert, the headline of the podcast with Stephen Colbert is, once again, it's an Anderson Cooper podcast called All There Is.
Yes.
And he interviewed Stephen Colbert, and the headline of it or the question is, can you be grateful for your grief? And we talked a little bit about that here and what has come out of our grief that is good. And can we find, it was a great discussion we had, and can we find anything good? And I feel like this is an example. Yes, it's silly and it's goofy, and I did not know that people were, feeling, other than laughing about it, but feeling blessed in your case, STL, and feeling a good sense of diversion for you even.
It was.
Through your grief, but something good. Sometimes we have to, it might take a while, Sometimes it comes in conversations with others, but I do think, and I said this when we had this conversation a few months ago, that I never in my wildest dreams thought I would ever say that something good has come out of my grief.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell myself, you're crazy, lady. Like there's no way that could ever happen. And that, I mean, there are a couple of things I can think of, but that in particular, my creativity has blossomed from that. Sometimes at night though, I'm laying in bed at night, like, oh my God, I forgot to move Marshall, because the idea is to move him around the house. So they could look like that he left and came back or whatever. And I'd be in bed, like popping up at 4 a.m. Oh my God, I got to move Marshall. And then I'm up in the middle of the night making zip lines out of toilet paper for 2 hours or whatever, like an idiot. But I think that, leads us into this idea that sometimes if we open ourselves up to seeing it that way, and again, I don't think it's right away for many of us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is something maybe that's even easy to find, but I do feel like, and don't throw tomatoes at the computer because it's your computer, people. Don't throw tomatoes at me though. But I do feel for some, and at some point on our grief journey, that we will find something good that came out of it. And in my case, it's the creativity and this whole Marshall saga that has grown out of that. And it was, like I said, we only received Marshall because, my friend, she was doing it for her daughter. And she thought that it would be a good way to get through the holidays after losing my mom so suddenly. So I want you all to follow me on Instagram. Okay. But no, I want you all to think about that though. I know it's hard maybe to embrace that, but think about how or what in your grief has been good, or what goodness, maybe it's meeting new people, maybe it's being here. What's positive, or what has come out of grief that you feel is a good thing? We're not, and please do not take this the wrong way. It doesn't mean that your grief is insignificant or your loss is not heavy. It's not there. We're not saying that. We're just saying that sometimes, right, out of the stone can come a rose. Something can grow out of that. Out of the coal, right? We burn it off, or however they get it, you get diamonds. So I want you all to take that away today and think about if you're there yet, or what are some lights? What are some positive things that have come out of your grief? And if you're not there yet, that's okay. If you say, Tracy, that's ridiculous, and I'm going to throw the tomato at you, and if I ever meet you in person, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, I don't even know if I could say, I don't even know if I could say that or agree that I have found something positive just a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. So I get it if you're not there yet. But if you are, let's chat about that next week. I want to hear from those, because some of you may not have been here that week that we talked about it, or you may have thought about it more, right? And there might be something beautiful that has come out of your grief. And like I said, for me, I hadn't even thought about the Marshall thing in that way. The positives for me have been really relationships, particularly here with Good Grief. I connected with STL initially as an interview just to chat about Crazy Berry Town and elderberry and Zumba, but we connected on a different level through our grief. And to me, that's beautiful. And I appreciate the relationships that I've cultivated surrounding grief. And to me, that's a positive, that's a light.
Yes.
That's a positive thing. So I want you to think about that. Jen Darn, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Thank you all so much. Everybody, thank you for being here. I was looking at John and Rebel. But thank you everybody for being here. I've got to go get Captain Boots and get back home because my girls are probably going to be waiting in the driveway when I get back. It's Emory homecoming weekend, and so we're going to turn up a little bit. Well, turn up if I can stay awake. That's your girl is sleepy, okay? So, but we're at least going to start off here. I don't think there will be an after show today. I've got to hit the car, and you all know when I get to a certain part, which is not far from my house, I drop I dropped the Discord, or it's crappy. I can't really hear what's the word? I don't know, whatever. But I lose a good connection. I don't have a good connection. So and I do have to run. So there won't be an after show today, everybody. But you have homework. And that's to think about if you can find some positives or some good things, even if it's just one. Maybe you found a new snack that you didn't know you liked or whatever. I don't know. But let's talk about that next week. Let's talk about what you have found in your grief that might be positive or a good thing. All right. As always, I'm waiting for Kim to come back. I'm like, Lord, she get wrapped up with Tom. I don't know. But yeah, I will finish off with it. I don't have SDL if you have some closing words, but I will say, as always, find the joy in something every single day, even when it doesn't feel good. I have to say, I've had a rough couple of weeks, and it's been hard to find the joy, but I sometimes have to try a little harder, but I do every day. I look for the joy. So you do it too. Find the joy in something every day. Why? Because you are worth it and you deserve it. Have an awesome, awesome weekend, everybody.